What a pickle! How England lost, found, and won the World Cup in a single year. Most of football's Hollywood-worthy plots take place on the field, featuring underdog triumphs, late goals, and impossible drama. However, arguably one of the game's greatest storylines, involving mystery, intrigue, and an unlikely hero, took place away from the floodlights, featuring a church hall, a ransom note, and a loyal dog. It was March 20, 1966, 3 months before the World Cup finals were set to commence in England for the first time in World Cup history. The World Cup trophy, also known as the Jules Rimet Trophy, a different trophy to the one used nowadays in the World Cup, was on display in a glass cabinet at an exhibition in the Methodist Central Hall at Westminster. 5 guards had been detailed to keep a constant watch on the trophy as it sat on display. However, on that auspicious Sunday, the guard stationed next to the trophy had the day off work. With 3 of the other 4 guards enjoying a lovely cup of tea, there was only the single guard George Franklin on watch, who discovered the display case at midday, only to find that the famous Jules Rimet Trophy had been stolen. For the Football Association, and Sir Stanley Rouse, the English president of FIFA, this was the type of nightmare scenario one has, when already locked in a terrifying nightmare. With a quick call to the fuzz, an investigation into the theft was triggered. Now we of the modern world have to bear in mind how hard a crime like this would be to solve in the 60s. No CCTV cover, no traceable mobile phones or internet chatter to be monitored, no social media campaigns to help search for a suspect. Detective Inspector Bill Little took witness statements from Frank Hudson, a senior guard on duty, and Margaret Coombs, a woman attending a Sunday school service in a different part of the hall, both of whom said they saw a man loitering by the gents' toilets that day. Whilst this was occurring, the FA attempted to deal with the crisis themselves. Before news of the theft broke out into the public consciousness, FA Secretary Dennis Follows visited a silversmith named George Bird at his workshop on Fenchurch Street. Follows asked Bird to recreate the Jules Rimet Trophy from the same solid gold as the original version, telling him nothing else but to keep his lips sealed about it at all costs. Only a handful of people, including English President of FIFA Sir Stanley Rouse, knew about this. On Monday the 21st of March, Joe Mears, the chairman of the Football Association, received an anonymous phone call. The unknown man said that Mears would receive a parcel at Chelsea Football Club the next day. The parcel was delivered to Mears' home. It contained the removable lining from the top of the trophy and a ransom note that demanded £15,000 in £1 and £5 notes. The letter stated that the FA should place a coded ad in the personal ads column of the Evening News. If they followed the further instructions, they could get the trophy back by Friday, otherwise the thieves would melt the trophy down. Shortly afterwards, Mears received another call. A man who identified himself as Jackson changed the instructions to £5 and £10 notes. Despite the warnings, Mears contacted the police, met Detective Inspector Charles Buggy of the Flying Squad and gave the trophy lining and the letter to him. Police told Mears to place the ad on the 24th of March, and contacted a bank that created a false ransom payment out of bundles of ordinary paper, with real money only at the top and bottom, which were placed in a suitcase. 2 police officers were to act as Mears' assistants in handing the money over and went to his home to wait for the next call. Mears was suffering from an asthma attack, so his wife answered instead and gave the phone to their assistant McPhee, who was Detective Inspector Buggy. Jackson was nervous but finally agreed to arrange a switch and told McPhee to come to Battersea Park to meet him at the gate. Buggy drove to the park, followed by a number of unmarked Flying Squad vehicles, and met Jackson. Despite the fact that the sting ended up a bust on Buggy's part, Jackson was still captured by the backup team as he tried to escape. At the station, police recognized that Jackson was Edward Betchley, a petty thief and used car dealer, who had been convicted of theft and receiving stolen goods. Betchley denied that he had stolen the cup and claimed that he could retrieve it if he was granted bail, which was denied. He was formally charged with the theft of the trophy and breaking and entering. Betchley claimed that someone he knew only as the Pole had offered him £500 to act as a middleman. Mrs. Coombs, who had seen a strange man in the central hall, identified him, but the security guard did not recognize him. Now a week since the robbery, which had been dissected in detail across the national press, Corbett sets out to the telephone box across the road to see if his brother's new baby had been born, with Pickles in tow. On his way, the black and white dog started sniffing around at an unusual package. It was wrapped in tightly bound newspaper and string, laying against my neighbor's car wheel, Corbett retold, likely for around the 1,000th time in the last half-century. I picked it up and it's quite heavy, though not very big. It wasn't a spectacular cup. At the time the IOI were at large, so I personally thought it was a bomb. So I put it down. Picked it up, put it down again. Then curiosity took hold. I tore a bit off the bottom and there was a plain disc. Then I tore around and there was Brazil, Germany, Uruguay. I ran back in and said to my wife, "I think I've found the World Cup." He handed the parcel to the police. They took Corbett and the trophy to Cannon Row Police Station, where Harold Mays of the FA identified it. Police briefly suspected that Corbett was involved with the theft, but he had an alibi. They announced the recovery of the trophy the next morning, but retained the cup as evidence until the 18th of April and returned it to the FA before the opening of the tournament. Pickles went on to star in the feature film, The Spy with the Cold Nose, and he also appeared on Magpie, Blue Peter, and a whole host of other shows. He was made Dog of the Year, and awarded a year's supply of Spiller's dog food, and also offered the chance to visit Chile, Czechoslovakia, and Germany. On the evening of England's historic 4-2 victory over Germany in the World Cup final, Pickles and Corbett went to the after-party and hung out with the victorious team at the Kensington Hotel. Corbett also enjoyed a £3,000 reward, which bumped up his £100 life savings to help him buy a house. Although it was never confirmed whether the pole existed or was still a threat, all that mattered was that the World Cup had been found. Pickles was a dog of luxury, Corbett had his house, and football had finally come home. Guys, this is it for today. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We will meet again with another interesting topic. Till then, stay safe, stay happy.